So in this video, we're going to take a look at a really clever custom node for ComfyUI. This is a custom node used to try to fix faces. And we just take a quick look at how it works here. So I'm going to open up this image here. This is the final image in a set of 3. And we can see our girl there. Her eyes are a little bit different colors. Sometimes that happens. And that's the same image. This is the one where the eyes are fixed. So this is the one that comes before that. And then the initial image. It's not quite perfect. And we can go back to this one. Again, this is the final one. This is the one where it's fixed. There you are. And this is the one we start off with. So you can see we lose maybe a little bit of detail in the eyes with the eyelashes. But then we end up with a slightly better quality image overall. I did put in some freckles there just to demonstrate that it does get rid of freckles and that sort of thing. But then we recover the freckles just a little bit towards the end. Before we go on, a quick word from our sponsor. Pixelvert Studio provides a range of online courses, including courses in Canva, Stable Diffusion, SDXL, and ComfyUI. And with SDXL and ComfyUI, it goes right from the beginners to mastery phase. You can also learn about Adobe Illustrator Firefly, the new generative AI for vector graphics, and DALL-E 3. Just click on the link. You may find the discount there for you. And if you want to learn more about a particular course, click on the course and expand all sections in the course content. You'll be able to see exactly what's covered. As you can see here, the courses remain fairly up to date and contain lots of useful information for anyone wanting to get started. How does this happen? So we've got a standard sort of workflow, and we start off with our image here, which is resulting from a basic sampler. This is the introductory sampler, and we're starting off with just 12 steps. That's how we end up with the base image, which is not perfect by any means. Then we apply the face restore, and it does become a little bit better. And then we go ahead and apply a little bit of magic, and then we bring back a mixture of the two. So this is using latent space to mix 2 images and to give us a result that is kind of like a mixture of the 2. Now, when we look at this, the final result, we can see it's not perfect, but it's definitely, I think, a little bit better than the original, which was not looking, it looked a little bit rough originally. Now, to describe the workflow, first of all, we have an ordinary sampler that gives way to the face restore. And that's a specific custom node. And that custom node just takes in a number of different models. One is a face detection model. The other one is a face repair model. And you can change the face repair model. So we could try this one here. Let's go ahead and change the number. I'm using a seed which is being shared between 2 samplers. So we've got exactly the same seed. And we can run that and see what happens when we use the second code former repair mechanism. Should create our image, which is not going to change. And then we'll create the spare image here. I think it's done. So this is what the code former one looks like. I don't think it's quite as good as the GPF GAN. And we can see what the final one looks like. So the final one is always going to be a compromise one which is basically taking the output from the restore. The face detection, we've got a code former fidelity, which is basically how intensive the repair is going to be. And then we've got the repair being done here. And you can use one of 2. There are others there, but they don't seem to really do very much. We then encode this and drag the latent to the second sampler. So it's a fairly simple workflow, image to image. And in some ways, it is very much inspired by what was happening inside of Automatic 1111. Now, the custom node comes from Maverick. Nice name. And surprisingly, it is called Face Restore -CF code former. And we have very detailed instructions here. You can, if you want to, go ahead and copy this like so, and then just git clone this inside of the custom nodes folder for ComfyUI, or you could use the manager. And I'll show you how to use the manager. I've already explained it, but it shows you a little bit of how you could use it there. and then the installation process, which if you've used, they go into quite some detail here. So if you need that assistance, it is there. They also mention that if the install fails for whatever reason, you'll need to work out how to install OpenCV Python yourself. Okay, that should be installed, so you shouldn't have any issues, but you can Google this if you need to. I did come across a weird bug, which I think was just in my Python installation. So you have this sort of embedded Python installation inside of ComfyUI, and there was a bug related to that, but it wasn't this particular one here, and that was pretty easy to fix. The models perform the face restoration, these guys here, so you would download these guys and put these in the face restore, models face restore _ models directory. You can create that, or if you use the manager, it should create this directory. There's another directory which is the models face detection directory. This gets all of these models here. You may have some of these models already if you have Automagically 1111, or if you're using some face swap software. They're very, very quick download, so I wouldn't be too obsessed about saving time. But that's basically what we do, and let me show you how to do the installation using the manager. So let's bring up the manager, and we go to install custom node, and the custom node that we're using is going to be face. Let's search, and whoa, we've got Maverick, and this is the one here. We need this, and it gives you a little bit of information there. This is a copy of a former one which has had the parameter added to it. I didn't find that parameter that useful, but you can see on the project page exactly how that parameter is used. You also need to install some models, and let's go and take a look at those models. Install models, and the ones I've installed here, maybe I'll show you. Type in face. Here we are. So there is a bunch of models here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These ones need to be installed. If you have any problems, just make sure all of these are installed. And so just face, and then look for the ones with face restore CF inside of them. As long as all of those are installed, you should be fine to go. Now, the way this works, it is very dependent on the resolution. So you'll find that some resolution of images, it just doesn't work with. Here I was using an image of 1440 by 720, and I'm using the really awesome SSD-1B model. This is a really cool model. If you haven't used it, you should check out the video. I'll link to it describing how this one works. It is much smaller than SDXL, but it allows you to create these huge images, 1440 by 720, 1 megabyte, and I think it's one of the coolest models that I've seen in a long time. I'm going to share a much simplified version of this workflow. It's one which is going to exclude all the stuff you don't really need. I'm using an efficient sampler. I might remove that in the final one, but what this one is basically doing is that it's using, there's this feature here which is randomize and fix seed. It's one which is borrowed from Automagically 1111. So what you have to do, you have to go ahead and create another way of creating the seed. So I've done that here, but it's a little bit complicated, so I might change that. But I'll share something with you a little bit more simplified than this, so that you can get going if you want to try this out.